I'm Jack Thiessen. I'm on the executive committee here at the Guild. Before I introduce our speaker this evening, I have one mention. I'm not going to be in town for the June Spring Art Show on the campus here. So if I could have some volunteers to help man the booth Saturday and Sunday, it would be great. And you can drop me a line and let me know when you're available, and I'll try to work up some sort of schedule so everybody knows when and where they need to be. And then we'll probably, I don't know if we're going to need anybody to help set the tent up on Saturday morning. That'll be taken care of. So if you're interested in helping out even for an hour or two, please let me know. And anyway, so our speaker tonight is Joel Brandon he's the owner of All These Wonders Brand Experience and Design. And he's going to talk about a community art project that's in conjunction with the art
ACG
Albright Knox Art Gallery here in town. So take it away.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks for having me tonight. You don't have to clap, please. Like Jack said, I'm also a member of the local Rotary group. I'm their president-elect, in fact. I think we just ran out of elect, so I became the one. But yeah, I've known you for about, I think, a year and a half, roughly. And we've talked a lot about art. We've talked a lot about what you guys do here, so I'm excited to meet all of you. I'm just going to give you a little background about who I am and where I came from, and then talk about the proposal that we're bringing to the table for the Village of East Aurora. So I am a creative director. I'm a graphic designer by trade. And over the years, I kind of worked up the ladder from kind of lowly graphic designer to an art director, partnering with artists and writers, digital vendors, and working at big agencies for big brands, global brands. I'm originally from Oregon. I'm from Portland. If you guys have been there, I was there the first 18 years of my life. And how did I get into art? I think like a lot of kids of the 80s, I was watching Bob Ross in second grade, and they were teaching me how to paint, essentially. And I really picked that up and harnessed it. And I drew a lot at home. Indeed, I would take the VCR, right, and record some of my favorite shows. And I would pause it, right? You could pause it at the time, and it was a little shaky, but I would put paper on the TV and trace the characters that I liked, for like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Simpsons, you name it. And I thought that was pretty, ingenious. It's a primitive light box, if you will. And I would sign kids like yearbooks, at the end of the year, everybody would sign yearbooks, and I'd be drawing these characters that I was so used to drawing, and I became really popular for that. So at the end of the day, I'd have like 20 yearbooks stacked up, ready to go, and I really learned like how being an artist can, it really gets backed up, and I got a lot of work to do here before the end of the day, right? So I also watched a lot of TV, right? I mean, I watched cartoons for one thing, but I watched a lot of Disney. I watched a lot of HBO later in life, not when I was so young. And I watched a lot of MTV. And indeed, my mother, she took my MTV away because I dyed my hair all numbers of colors. She put like the blocker on the box. I don't know if you remember that, but that was a thing. But that is to say, I got a lot of my creativity from these cultural kind of institutions. A lot of the art that you would see like in all the Disney films, even HBO, and how storytelling like was coming across, and certainly MTV. When I turned 18, I had to get out of it. So California is not so far from Oregon, and I went to San Francisco, which is really just like an hour flight, right? And I didn't know what I wanted to do, I think like a lot of kids. So I enrolled at USF, which is a Jesuit school. I'd never gone to a private school before. And learned that they had a kind of a joint degree program with the California College of Arts and Crafts. And this was the last maybe the second to last arts and crafts institution, university in the United States. And while I was there studying there, they actually dropped crafts off of their name. So they're now just California College of the Arts. But it's a very prestigious program. They're based in Oakland. And the design campus that you see here is in San Francisco. And I studied graphic design. So that really is just visual communication. It's a lot of typography and image manipulation and like page composition and that sort of thing. And learning how to use a computer to tell stories. As you can see, it's really serving me well, right? So, over the years, like I said, I became a creative director working with big teams of creatives. I was eventually hired at Nike World Headquarters in Portland. So I moved home after 10 years in San Francisco and worked at Nike doing projects like the Chicago Marathon, branding, working with fine artists. This is an illustrator in Chicago named Cody Hudson. But you kind of take that art that you create for the event, which is a big race, and put it up in stores and really tell the brand story like through the marketing in store. We made footwear, all kinds of really cool, shoe boxes, and we did photography as the first time I've ever done any photography. Essentially, I can kind of zoom through all of this, but I worked on a lot of really high profile, very expensive and fancy projects. I think Nike just has very deep pockets. And I learned a lot. I worked with some of the best artists in the whole world, in fact. And it was 3 years of my life that I took so much from that. So I will just kind of flip through here because I know we don't have all day, but you'll see a lot of these installations are telling stories about their brand, about their footwear, about the innovation storytelling, big sculptural moments. I mean, this is about shoes, right? These shoes are made out of kind of a woven fabric, right? So we would create a sculptural moment that highlighted the footwear, but told the story of speed and lightweight and all those things. So again, I got to work with fabricators all over the world, essentially, that would come together and build this stuff. Big parties, they would just throw a ton of money at this stuff. And they'd bring in brand ambassadors like Kobe Bryant, for instance, who was such an inspiration. And I got to work with these folks every day for 3 years. I was eventually poached from Nike by one of our agency vendors, and they moved me to New York. And in New York, I did all kinds of crazy work for like high profile luxury brands and things like this. And this was an installation we built at the Oculus at the World Trade Center. This is just a hand illustration that I did using Adobe, and this is the real thing. So you can see how it kind of translates to real life. And they would build recap videos of how the thing gets built. It's pretty exciting. I always enjoyed working with the fabricators to put the thing together. It was in New York that I met my wife, and that's not her. But here, let me just get to, that's not her either. Honey, if you're watching this, there she is. So I met my wife in Brooklyn. Lauren Stevens is from Lancaster originally. So I started visiting Buffalo a lot, and she said yes, by the way. And you know what happens after that, right? This is just like the natural thing. So we had that baby like shortly after the pandemic, which was really sad in New York City. It was sad everywhere. But we decided it was time to go. We started looking for houses in and around Buffalo, but no neighborhoods really felt right. There's a lot of bad subdivisions and things that just weren't for us. And she said, "Oh, I really want to take you to this cute little village. It's got this main street. It's all brick, and they got a 5 and 10. It's amazing." I was excited to see it, right? So here we are. Found a house over on Prospect and Sycamore. And this is us today. We have a 2-year-old who, bless him, he keeps me very sick. I'm fighting it right now. Lauren and Theo and myself. But like Jack said, around the pandemic time, I started looking at these big agencies I worked at, and I thought, I could just do this myself. I don't need to be working for someone else. So I have a big creative network that I would just reach out to people, and luckily, a lot of work came from it. So I have a partner in Portland who is an architect, and he does a lot of the 3D rendering of some of these spaces that you'll see. So I design all the graphics and I put them up on the walls, and he builds out the space, which is a pretty cool. It's a really cool partnership. And we kind of market ourselves as being far more efficient than that big agency you're working with. Those agencies are very expensive, and I know because I've been working at them. So we've got a really great client roster. My partner's name is Ro Goodman, and this is a photo shoot we did for our kind of headshots. He's in Portland, Oregon, so we're on both coasts. And we work with, we don't have employees, we have contractor friends who just contract for us. We've got people in Iceland, in Western Europe, really spread out. And we're not looking to really grow, I'm not really looking to scale this thing. So that gives a lot of opportunity for, we have a lot of big clients and a lot of small clients, and I do a lot of pro bono. Some of our capabilities, of course, we specialize in brand design, environments, of course, and campaign work. My approach to everything I do, especially in 2024. So if your brand wants to stand out from all the noise, because there's a whole lot more noise today than there ever has been. Everyone's got their phone in their pocket, and it's just all around you, right? So you really have to make what you're doing like very distinct. It needs to really be unique. When I say disruptive, I think what I really mean is it just needs to be a little radical, And while it needs to be culturally relevant and fit within, the subject matter, I think disruption is what makes something special, and it's what makes it different, and it's what makes it stand out. All that said, does anyone have any questions about that? Okay. The reason Jack invited me here today was to talk about the public art initiative that I proposed. Like I said, I'm a member of Rotary, and I'm indeed their president-elect. We're always looking for, causes and local causes to kind of help the community. We raise a lot of money, and we donate a lot of money, and we give a lot of grants out. We do a lot of great things, but I haven't been great at raising money, and I think it's just awkward for me to ask but I've been going to the events, and I've been working it. Indeed, we had a big tent at the Borderland Festival this last summer, where we made friendship bracelets with like the little letter beads, so kids could, and it was free, but kids could kind of put whatever words and messages they wanted. Like people that go to these festivals want the message, like, this is what I believe in, right? And they share that. It was inspired by Taylor Swift's recent kind of taking over the world. But I wrote up a little something here that I think I can kind of see if I don't see this right. So public art can express community values. It can enhance our environment, transform a landscape. Oh, thank you so much. That's so much better. And heighten our awareness or question our assumptions. Placed in public sites, this art is there for everyone, a form of collective community expression. Public art encourages people to be attracted to and form an attachment to a location through historical and cultural understanding. It also highlights what is unique about a place and where people live, work, and play. Many residents feel as though the arts improve the image and identity of their community. Art creates spaces that people share, whether neighbors or strangers, alike or dissimilar, buffalo raised or from far-flung places. A work of art gives us a moment to pause and reflect. And when experienced with another, it's an opportunity to meet and to connect. I like that. So this is the opportunity. What I'm proposing for our group is to kind of partake in like an interactive collaboration between artists and the residents here in East Aurora. Whereas in the creation of an outdoor mural. Much like how a paint by number system instructs the painter to apply specified colors to a predestined section of the canvas, we would partner with an artist whose aesthetic will easily welcome a cooperative experience. You know, as a member of the East Aurora Rotary Club, I think we're in a unique position to kind of help lead the effort. As an active member, right, I have so much professional marketing experience doing this sort of thing at live events. This is the kind of thing that people love to do while they're at concerts or brand experiences. Unfortunately, when you're working with someone like Nike, they're going to want their swoosh or something terrible involved. And we don't want to do that. I think the storytelling potential in something like this is immense. And that's where the AKG Art Museum comes in. I really intend to partner with them as really leading experts in this initiative. They have a group called the Public Art Initiative, who seek to empower artists, inspire viewers, and strengthen a sense of our shared landscape with art that reflects the beauty and vitality of the many communities that shape it. I'm sure you're all well aware, but they have upwards of, I think, 40 beautiful murals and installations, residencies, and works of sculpture in and around the city of Buffalo, all the way down to Springville, which is a really good place to start. Because this is a recent installation that happened just last year. It's at the corner of Pearl and East Main Streets. You're familiar? AKG, they brought in Mandy Caskey, who's also known as Miss Birdie. She's a muralist, a gallery artist, and a community activist who's based in Columbus, Ohio. She's the co-founder of Catalyst Columbus, which is a public art focused foundation that uses, that uses art to address social issues that affects her city of Columbus. She really looks for projects that will embed her into the communities and spaces where she's working and where she's painting. Her work often contains whimsical nods to the environment she's in. And her work organically moves between realism and fantasy within a narrative context. Have you folks seen this piece? It's beautiful. I haven't seen it in person, unfortunately, but it's really special, and I think it's something that East Aurora is missing. I know there's a few murals around town. I've seen them. They're all right. But her time in Springville is so special because it's a result of the collaboration between the Springville Center for the Arts and the Buffalo AKG Public Art Initiative. So it really involved her moving to Springville and living there for months, where she held workshops with young people, she gave talks, she practiced her art, and then the whole residency culminated with the execution of this mural, which is called A Wish on the Wind. I love this. I'm so inspired by this, and I think we should have more of this in East Aurora. That said, we haven't really talked to anybody about it. And we've got all these great ideas, you know, this thing could go anywhere. I mean, we would love to do a few. We talked about under the train tracks on Main Street. That property is owned by the railroad, which is essentially untouchable. There's big buildings. There's the Boys and Girls Club. There's locations like this at the corner of Millard Fillmore Place and Elm, which I thought was inspiring because there's really nothing going on there. And Elm Street as you know, is such a cultural hub. It's right across from the cool bookstore. It's like, why isn't something on that wall? And this is like an ideal wall. After speaking with someone at the AKG, Zach Bowler, Zach Bowler, he's the one that's going to help us kind of achieve this vision. We also, I asked him about the big wall that's up above the gastronomy pub in the back there. You know the one I'm talking about. It's like 5 stories tall. That would be incredible. He said, let's start small, Joel. He said, let's go to the board and talk to them and show them what we can do and how special it can be. And we haven't even approached, is it Car Parts? CarQuest. All I know is that they need a paint job on the rest of their building. So we could even offer, and this is just red, white, and blue. We could do that. Like, it wouldn't hurt their business. Exactly that. So we do aim to go speak with them. Yeah, and that's all I got for you tonight. Do you have any questions at all? You can clap. Thank you. Yeah, that was fast. You see, I just got through that. I'm really under the weather, folks. I'm sorry. Struggling. Oh, I just wanted to share. I would love feedback, constructive criticism. Yeah, if you want to paint, I think that would be super helpful. And bring the kids and get messy with it. Some artists wouldn't want to work that way, and they're like, "Oh, I don't work that way." Mandy probably wouldn't work that way, but I think if you involve and make it interactive, I think it's something people would really enjoy.
Met any of the teachers?
None of the art teachers, no. I don't think. No. Do you know? Are you one of them?
Like Tom Kegler,
Okay. Maybe this is not like such an original idea too, right? So this is very hot, isn't it?
Have you met by any chance Rob Lynch downtown? He has a couple partners. They do murals here, there, and everywhere. Always out there.
Couple. The Lynch, are they brothers? I was thinking of Sean and John Daly, who actually do a lot of the murals. You see Wallenvines at the restaurant. They did their name. Left Coast Taco. They did all the mural outside them. That's more graphic arts, but.
Do you have any contact? Do you have your contact?
I got business cards to pass out. Yeah, 100%. I work from home, so I'm here every day. I probably work too much, but
and well, I'm going to throw this out there, and
yeah,
I don't know for no people.
Yeah.
So the Allentown Art Show, they're still looking for people to come up with ideas for the shirts this year.
Oh, cool.
Really good graphic design. People were not happy with them last year. They didn't.
Oh no.
I mean,
did anybody see the bunny hop t-shirts?
Yeah. We did those. I have a picture of it. You want to see it? Yeah, so what's great about graphic design is that it's typography and image manipulation. Oh, there's an online question. Yeah, the proposal is for 2025. So we've got some time. And it's because AKG is kind of backed up. The reason we want to partner with them is because they do all the fundraising, and they can bring in local or nationally renowned artists. All they want from us is like a place to store stuff, like my garage, and maybe like an Airbnb for them to kind of put the artist up while they're here for a little while. Yeah, I mean that's it's tough. I don't have any ideas right now what it could be. I know being across from the bookstore, I've seen murals that are the size of books. What I love about Mandy is that she moves into the community, meets everybody, and talks about your stories. Because you don't want somebody to move in and put up like a Batman mural, and you're like, what does that have to do with East Aurora? Terrible. That happens, unfortunately, but it won't happen here. And I feel like if you integrate somebody in the community, get those stories flowing, and then hopefully they produce something that everybody can agree on is appropriate, but you never really know. It's tough because art is subjective. But
There's a question about the process though. One way to go is with the request for people
yeah,
get ideas in. And it sounds like what you're leaning visual first and then have them.
I think so. Yeah, there's a few options there. In terms of the artist, is that your question? Is like who?
Well, not necessarily
Okay.
about process.
Yeah. I don't really know yet. This is such in its infancy. We haven't done this before, but okay. Nope.
Art services, not for profit Buffalo, and they put out a lot of RFPs for
Cool.
art.
Yeah.
That's the way we went.
I'd love to see that.
Funding, so
Yeah. I don't know if I have an internet. Of the poster, yeah, I could pull that up. I don't know if I can just link with my phone. This is the shirt that we made for the bunny hop. I can share a link out with the group to the AKG site. You can see all the murals that I showed are from them. You want to see the poster?
Better than the t-shirt.
So we've been using the same bunny graphic every year, and it's cute. You know, I'm a big runner, and running's hard. So it's not often very cute. So I thought let's gonna beef up the mascot this year, right? And you know, I don't know how this is gonna go over with you folks. We did use Midjourney to create an AI artwork for this thing. So it was not done by hand. You see poster anywhere? But indeed, we were able to render some pretty tough looking bunnies. And you type in the text prompt and you dress them up in a tutu, you know, because people really get all decked out for this thing. And yeah, these posters were around town. They were in the advertiser and that sort of thing. But I think we had the biggest showing this year. A lot of that has to do with the weather. We had blue skies, which it was the marketing. That's right. A lot of this that I do is pro bono. In fact, I'm working with the Roycroft right now to help them with their advertising effort and their social channels. They've been doing the same thing for a long time, bless them, you know, and it hasn't really been working for them lately. So they're looking at what can we do to bring in some new blood, which is exciting. And I'll show that to you when it's ready. But it's kind of it's under wraps right now. No previews. You know, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I want to, but you know, he's looking down on me up there. Kurt's up there, like, don't do that. What are we gonna look at? AKG Public Art Initiative. This is it, and it's fantastic. You can probably learn about our partner Zach here, but you know, I kind of walked you through some of these things, but they have done so much for the area, and they bring on some big names, and we don't need big names out here. I just want to tell stories, you know. And there's so many blank walls that, you know, why not? I thought the Boys and Girls Club could be cool. I love the train underpass. Is that what that is? The kind of thoroughfare there, and that's a tough one though, because I think if the train company owns it, they just won't let you touch it. Unfortunately, because it's so ugly, you know,
It is, but the local kids dress it up.
with their graffiti or their, and then they paint over it with little swatches of color. Yeah, it's almost like they're doing it on purpose. So you're like, yeah. So yeah, so they do all kinds of things. But I can share this link out if you guys want to see it. I'll certainly share a PDF of this presentation for your amusement. But it really is in its infancy, and you know, I'll be president of the club this year, so hopefully I can help drive a little interest, make some of the guys do that. Oh, is that how that works? Oh yeah, okay. I didn't know if that was. I'm chained to the table now. What is this? Yeah, yeah. I'm really working for you. Is that right? Fantastic. Well, I'm blessed. I would love to show you guys some of this stuff. I don't know if you, yeah, I won't. I'm not going to do it. But you'll start seeing the advertising come out because it's literally, it's like happening now. And it's just a shift in messaging, essentially. You know, there's ownership issues with the orb, as I'm sure you know, and all these things. So we're trying to create a little bit more kind of brand ownership for them as a campus.
And this word disruptive can be a really positive thing, really,
Yeah.
open up what this campus is about.
Yeah. And as you know, art is going to create the positive and the negative, and people are going to hate it and people are going to love it. And isn't that amazing? You know, and it's always going to be that way. So
Myself and most people I talk with, the concern is everything's like this. You walk down the street and people are like this.
yeah,
You have images out there.
yeah. Yeah, there's a difference between disruption and like tension. You know, I know tension can be healthy for advertising and for this sort of thing, but depends on who you're working with. You know, the Roycroft is, they just have so much well, art, you know, to share. And I think the potential there is huge. So we're getting there. Thank you.
So do you work mainly in the East Aurora area?
Yeah, I work from home. Ever since the pandemic, people in my industry were sent home after the pandemic because we don't need to be in an office to do what we do. And I think a lot of companies realized that, and they were on the hook for, you know, huge rentals in New York City, in every city. And now downtowns are empty. A lot of the creative industry, Silicon Valley, don't need to be in offices. You can do everything kind of remotely, and it's efficient if people are, you know, diligent, and they are. You know, I think they are for the most part.
Public art where it's really lacking. So here we are in East Aurora, but West Seneca, Lancaster, Cheektowaga,
Mm-hmm.
the suburbs are looking the same these days.
Yeah, with their water towers. Yeah.
Especially after COVID. Flatline.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there, you know, and I think we can put our heads together and kind of work together on that. I'm so new here. I'm still using Google Maps to get around. I don't know where I am. So my wife says arcade. I'm like, what is that? You know, and where is that? She's like, oh, that's far. It's really not that bad. But I haven't been to that building. I've seen it in a magazine. Yeah, I'm a big fan of architecture, but I've been downtown a little bit. But I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing here. Jack shares all the progress that you make, and it's very special. So
Have you been
thanks
to
for.
shows here at all? Campus?
I think I went to one. Yeah, maybe like the summer one, the first one. Yeah, yeah. Are you all involved in those art shows?
So
Fantastic.
June,
Yeah, yeah. These are the like the Denslow posters. Is that right? That I see? Okay. Yeah, those are fantastic. So, I'm gonna give you cards. I have business cards. I have these cool cards, but I have even cooler ones. That you do. It's gonna take a minute, but if you're gonna hang out afterwards, I can share this with you. I met a fellow at Moog, and he does all their 3D printing. He prints like engines and all kinds of crazy stuff, and he can't even talk to me about it, which is amazing. So he has a side hustle, which I said, why? Why do you even have a side hustle? But he engraves like acrylic. He makes ornaments and stuff like that, and I think he sells them like hotcakes. And I said, well, I want some business cards made out of that. So he literally like engraved these business cards for me. You'll forgive me when you buy this acrylic. This is not sustainable, by the way. You can buy sustainable acrylic. It comes from Milan. It's very expensive. This is not it. But he runs this stuff through his laser etcher. It's really pretty, but it takes me a minute to like get this stuff off. So you'll get a cool one. But I also got some easy ones too if you don't want to wait. I'll put them up here if you my wife calling, telling her that. Cool. So yeah, what does it take to be a member of your guys' is that right?
Yeah.
Cool.
All details.
Okay. Great. That's fantastic. Yeah. I went to your website just to see if you'd added me to the speaker thing, you know. Well, when you buy the acrylic, it comes wrapped because you don't want to scratch it. And you literally, after he lasers out the letters, you have to go through and like, I could have paid him to do this, but I think that it's kind of demeaning. Usually I sit at home and I'm like, okay, how many people will be at the meeting and I'll do this. But yeah, these are the good ones. But yeah, please reach out to me anytime. I'm online too much. And yeah,
Make sure that everyone.
cool.
Knows how to contact
100%. Yeah, I'm just 3 blocks away, so not far. Okay. For posterity.
Well, no, just something quick, make a meeting. Get it also.
Okay. I'm gonna rewatch myself and take notes. What to do next time. Thank you, folks, so much. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Paul. So during our January meeting, when we were talking about oh, that thing is hot. Wow. It's like, woo. No, I mean, I'm okay, but I wasn't expecting it to be all that warm. A lot of people I found had questions about the jury process. How does it work? What will you do to me if I go there? So I'm going to do just a quick rundown and make sure that everyone knows we're all on the same page about what the process is. And then if you have questions, I'll try to answer them. So I'm just going to go through quickly because a lot of you are already familiar with this stuff. There is a page with jury information on the website. So if you're not sure, you can always refer back to that or get in touch with us. You can email the guild and someone will answer you. Usually we're pretty quick. Usually. So the first thing that I want to kind of give everyone a little information on is why we jury the way that we do. Because groups do things differently. People have had different experiences with, gone different places and juried in different ways and whatever. And I personally don't have a lot of experience with that, so I only know what I've heard. But one thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that people feel like they're ready to go when they come into jury. We want you to feel welcome. We want you to take it seriously, but we don't want you to be afraid. So it's kind of it's a difficult balance, but we want to give you the opportunity to grow as an artist, whether you're accepted as a juried artist or you're not. So that regardless of the outcome of the jury, you know why we made the decision that we made and where to go from there. So we really just we want everyone to be successful. So, if it's not the first time, maybe it's the second time, maybe it takes 3, whatever the case. And then we also want you to have the insight into how other artists view your work. And you would be surprised, even for someone who's been through it a couple times. It's always interesting to read what other people have to say about your work and how, things that you don't think of when you look at it, other people will see things differently than you do. So it's super interesting. And I always look forward to the comments after. So who can jury? So you need to be doing fine art or fine craft. We don't do things like food or candles or soap or things like that. We don't want you to be using patterns that you bought at the store or sewing patterns that you ordered online or things like that. So if you're going to do, sewn items or whatever, or even, you're cutting out wood or whatever you're doing, we want you to have original designs. So you're not copying designs from somewhere else. And of course you have to produce your own work. So you also need to be a member in good standing for 6 months prior to the jury date. So we want you to know what we're about. We would like to know what you're about. before you walk into a jury situation. We'd like you to attend at least 3 meetings for the same reason, because we want you to be involved with us. We want you to know who we are. We want to know about you. And we find that the more people attend meetings and the more they get involved with us, the more success they have. So the 3 meetings, you can either do them in person or you can do them on Zoom. Hello, everyone in Zoom land. And that also helps you feel comfortable with us, with the environment, with the process. And we want you to participate in the guild. We don't want you to jury and then disappear. We want you to stay involved with us. We want to see you. In terms of the jury, re-jury, renewal schedule, so the first time you jury, if you make it, you have 3 years before you have to jury again. So that would be your second. 3 more years, so the 6-year mark, you're going to jury again. And then 5 years after that, so you have your first one, and then 3 years, and then 5 years. At your 3rd jury, which is the 11-year mark, if you've passed all 3 juries successfully, you are then considered a lifetime juried artist. So that means that as long as you maintain your membership, you stay in good standing with the guild, you never have to jury again. You're always considered a juried artist. And the reason that we do that is because as we age, things happen, people retire, they're no longer maybe practicing their art, or maybe they're not able to practice their art in the same way. But you have all that experience and all that knowledge, and that's valuable. So you're still an asset to the group. So we don't want to lose those people. We want you to stay with us. So the jury process itself. So when you do your application, you will get back an appointment time that tells you this is the time that you're scheduled to jury. We recommend you get here 10 minutes before the time. We give you 5 minutes to bring your stuff in and set it up. We will help you with that if you need a hand. And then we take 5 minutes for the jurors to come up and look at your work a little more closely. You have 10 minutes then to talk about your work, your process, your inspiration, your education, anything else that you want to tell us about how you work, or why you work the way you do, or what you're really about. If you need 10 minutes, it's up to 10 minutes. Some people only need a few. And then we take about 5 minutes for the jury panel to ask you questions. So it's clarifying your process, or, and it depends specifically on your art as to what kind of questions you're going to get. We do have some general questions, how has your art changed? Where are you headed? How do you compare yourself to other artists in the same medium? Things like we have a list. And then depending on the situation, we may ask different questions. So I can't give you every possible scenario. It's going to be up to the jurors on the day, what they come up with and what they decide to ask you. But it's nothing, we're not trying to break you over the coals. We're just interested in what you do. And then once that's finished, we give you 5 minutes to pack up, and then you're excused. And the jury will then talk about your work, and we discuss amongst ourselves. We have a score sheet that we use. So every juror that sits on the panel will give you a score in the categories that we have on our sheet. And then from there, we make a determination as to whether you're juried successfully or you need to come back and try again. Okay, so what do we want from you? What we want is 3 to 5 pieces of your best work. So that should be the top of your ability. I don't recommend that you bring experimental work or things that you tried it, but you're not really sure of it yet, or it didn't quite go the way you planned, or that's not the time to bring us that kind of work. We want to see the best of what you're capable of. The criteria that we use, basically, evidenced mastery of medium. So do you know what you're doing with the stuff that you're using? Your design, which is composition, aesthetics, and originality. So like I said, it shouldn't look like everyone else's work out there. It should be your own original work. And your expertise, which is the knowledge of your process. And, for most mediums, we have somebody on the jury who's at least familiar with what you're doing. Very rarely do we have no one in the room who has no experience at all. So, and in that case, you know, it's your job then to educate us about what you do. So how do we evaluate? We look at the skill level, the quality of your work, your professionalism in your presentation. So it should look like professional work, and it should be presented in a professional way. So if it's fine art, if it's not framed, it should be mounted at least. It should look nice. It shouldn't be, you know, you shouldn't bring us frames that are banged up. It shouldn't, you know, it should be ready to hang if you're going to do a museum show. If for 3D work, it should be all in good condition. Shouldn't look like it fell out of the back of your car on the way over. So it just needs to be a professional presentation. And then one of the questions that we ask ourselves and that we ask each other is, if we were at a show, would we be proud to have this person next to us at a show? So will give you some insight into how our thought process works. So how can we help you? Number one, we're doing this tonight to give everyone sort of an overview. And I'm sorry that Ray, you just missed it, but you did fine. But for anyone who's leading up to the jury, we have this presentation, and I'm doing this tonight because we had so many questions. And I know for a lot of people, it's really nerve-wracking to even think about, oh, I don't want a jury, I'm scared. It's not scary, it really isn't. We're very nice, I promise. And the other thing that we do in order to help you is, if you don't feel confident enough or you're not sure if you're ready, please come to us and we will find a mentor for you so that you can have someone to bounce ideas off of, someone who can look at your work with you, tell you what might be more appropriate to bring versus what maybe don't, you know, that might not be the thing to take, you know, and just make sure that your presentation is at the level that it should be at. You know, and there's no harm in having a second set of eyes, because like I said, other people are going to see your work differently than you see it. So it's never a bad idea. We're happy to do that. You know, most of the time we can find someone who's working in your medium. If not, we'll find someone who at least has some knowledge, but we'll get you paired up. So what happens after you jury? You get a letter in the mail, usually within about 2 weeks. Kim is actually very fast. And I know she's watching tonight, so I want to make sure that everyone knows that Kim is our jury chair. She's very precise, super organized, and very quick. So in fact, she was chasing me around because I'm the one that prints the certificates out. And she wanted them now. So, so she doesn't waste any time. So you'll get your answer pretty quickly. If you are accepted, you'll get a certificate that says that you are a juried artist. You'll also get a booth sign with a triangle rose on it that you can hang in your booth at art shows, or, you know, hang on your fridge at home, or whatever you want to do with it. Post it on the internet. We always love that. If you are not accepted, you'll get your feedback. It'll be an explanation as to why, you know, why we made the decision that we made. And if for some reason that's the outcome when you jury, we don't want you to go away. Okay, we're not telling you that you're not good enough to be here. What we're telling you is there are a few things about your work that need some refining, and we want to help you do that. So we don't want anyone to just go away. You know, if you didn't get a mentor, that would be a good time to find one. If you did have a mentor, you may need to continue working with that person, or maybe someone else we can pair you with, whatever the case may be. But we really, and I want to stress this because it's important, we don't want you to leave. We really want you to stay with us, because I believe that everybody, you know, has the potential to get to that point. We just need to get you going in the right direction. In terms of benefits for juried artists, we have a whole, I'm sure you've all perused the website thoroughly. So you've seen that there's a page on there that lists all the juried artists. It gives your contact information. You can post some pictures of your work, let people know how to get in touch with you if they want to shop with you or they want you to work on a project, that kind of thing. One of the new things that we're doing is we have a featured artist, artist of the month on social media. So those people come from our pool of juried artists, and Holly Wentlet is doing a very good job of getting that taken care of. but you can have a whole month to yourself to be promoted through the guild on social media. We also have a rolling display in the Castiglia Art Center, which is over there in the tall building behind us. If you haven't been, you should go check it out. But Paulette Krakowski and Melissa Buckley are working on that. So they're doing 2 artists at a time. And I'm not sure what the time frame is. I think it's like 6 weeks. But you get to put your art up in the Castiglia Art Center, and then any tours that come through, any meetings that happen, any classes that go on, your art is on exhibit up there. And that's really just a benefit of, and the campus has allowed us to do that, which is really cool. So it's kind of a cooperative thing where they're getting something on their walls and we're getting to show our artwork. Another one of the benefits is no jury fee and automatic acceptance to all 3 shows on the campus. So it's a nice perk. And the most important one, I think, is that you get to use the triangle rose on your work. So that's our shop mark. I'm sure you've all seen it. There's a big sculpture on the Appian Way out by the parking lot. If you missed it, it's out there. Our rose is the one that's on the top, the big yellow one. And that's a symbol that, you're part of the guild, which is part of the Roycroft campus. And as I'm doing more shows and as I'm going further away from home, I'm noticing that people now are walking into my booth and they're looking at that and they're going, oh, you're from the Roycroft. So we're starting to have that brand recognition, with the triangle rose. So it's another cool bonus.
I believe at one time there used to be a hyperlink from jury membership list to their website. Is that still in existence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's another benefit.
on each individual page, yeah, all of the juried artists can submit whatever. Paul takes care of that. So when you jury, you'll get an information release form and a request for all that information, picture of yourself, a short bio, 3 pictures of your work. And he's also pretty quick about getting that. He's much better at it than I am. Because I used to do that. So he will put that up for you, and whatever information you want as far as whatever means you want people to contact you by, whether it's a website, whether it's an email, if you want your phone number, whatever it is, he'll put it on there for you. So, questions? Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah. So if you're working in more than one medium, you have to jury separately for each. You can do them on the same day if we have space, or you can separate it. You can do one this year, one next year, however you want to do it. But the process is the same for each. You're treated like a separate artist. So if you do watercolor and you do fiber, you'll do watercolor and that's one, and then your fiber is a completely separate thing. So we're going to jury you almost like 2 different people. So, yes. 2 on the same day. Jointly? No. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, you still have to jury separately. Yeah. So. Well, one is leather and one is wood. So unless you want to jury as mixed media, and and we can work that out on an individual basis with you guys, because you're sort of a separate kind of thing because you work together. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll, because you guys are sort of the outlier because you don't fit into the normal process. So we would deal with that individually. But yeah, you do have to go separately. Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, we'll get somebody for each of you, definitely, to just, reach out.
I have a question about the triangle rose.
Yeah.
Other artists are applying it or whatever they're making.
Well, for me as a jeweler, because I do jewelry and because of the kind of jewelry that I do, I can't just stamp it on my work because I do wire work. So For me, I put it on my business cards and I have it on the sign in my booth. Because it really doesn't, it doesn't work for me. Yeah. So for wood, you might want to take a look at what Ray does and what Jack does. But you can actually put the triangle rows right into your work. So yeah, absolutely. You can definitely do that.
I know you mentioned this in your way, but I wanted to accentuate on magic is in the details. There's a little something that's kind of messed up and it's kind of hidden away. When you go through the jury process, we'll see that. So it should be your very best. Of the
Yep.
best. If there's a mistake or something that's obvious, there are people in the group who jury who will be attuned to your media. So just be really careful about those details. Okay?
And I should say also that whatever kind of work you bring us, we're going to pick it up, we're going to flip it over, we're going to look inside, outside, top side, bottom side, turn it around. Yeah, so we're going to see the whole thing. So, you know, your best bet really is to make sure that everything is exactly as it should be.
It's also important to say that everyone, the goal here isn't to be a curator. You don't have to be if you don't want to. If you like coming to see different art and talking with people about your art and sharing or maybe collaboration, whatever the case may be. This isn't the end result. Everybody isn't going to jury.
Right, not everyone's going to be on that path.
Shaders, we have people that just, you know, talk about color and wood and whatever.
Yep.
So you can be more of a hobbyist too, and we welcome that.
Absolutely.
It's not a, and
Did you have something else, Robin?
Yeah, if there's somebody who wants to, say you don't even want to be a juried artist, you are a juried artist, if you want to do a presentation for us, that oftentimes is very helpful. Or if you do craft shows, if you present during a show, it's a great way to be with a friendly group who can help you, just help you succeed more in presentations and how you feel about yourself and content. So Janet Bader and me help work with the education part as far as presentation. So if you're interested in presenting for us on Thursday night, please see us.
Also, I did ask one of our recent juried artists if she would be willing to come up and talk about her experience a little bit because she just went through it for the first time. And she hasn't, how long have you been with us? Come on up, Ina.
1 year.
1 year, yeah. So, so she kind of knows a little bit about our personalities, but she's going to tell you how she found it to be. And please be honest. You're under no obligation. So please tell them really what you think about, having gone through the process and for the first time and how it was.
Okay, so initially it was kind of nerve-wracking. I'm a mixed media fiber artist, and there's not really any of that in this group, and so I wasn't sure how I, would fit in with this group. I did a presentation, which is Robin had asked me to come in and do a presentation, and Paulette had asked me to come to a meeting and see what it was all about because she felt that my work is different and should be part of this group. So then, we start talking about the jury process. I was like, oh. So I asked Bradley to be my mentor so that he could give me advice on doing like an artist statement because that's something I've never really had to do. And then I selected some pieces and passed it by him, and he approved what I had chosen. And then, of course, the day of, it's kind of jittery, but I do have some past experience to speaking to an audience, so I wasn't that worried about that part of it. And I know my work, and I felt that my pieces were probably the best that I had, except for the ones that I've sold. And overall, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I spoke with Paulette in the hall because he was getting rejuried. He says, you'll be fine. So it's like, okay. So that's my experience. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
And we didn't grill you terribly.
No. There's a few questions about the work. I really appreciated the feedback. So that when my acceptance letter came in the mail, jumping up and down. I was so excited. Okay. If there's any questions.
And you could ask her privately about her experience too, because I know she's, she's on the spot here tonight, but really that's the feedback that we get from a lot of people is that, oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I don't know what people think we're going to do to them when they come to jury. But, but I want to take some of the fear away because really it's a learning process. We're learning about you. You're learning about jury process. Everybody's learning about your work. You're going to learn something about yourself. You're going to get, those outside opinions, which are really, really valuable.
And if you're somebody who's been a juried artist for a long time, you're still gonna get feedback that's gonna help. It'll show you, bring up something that'll help you along or, help you with new ideas. It's a kind of collaboration, really.
Yeah.
For just
Yeah.
moving forward. And it's a really nice group to work with, so please don't be afraid of it.
I'll just talk a little bit.
Yeah.
First one is definitely. The first thing that
Aw.
second, third,
Thanks, Ray. Anybody else have questions? Anybody need more information about anything? No? Okay. Well, thank you all. If you think of things later that you want to know, please, you can get a hold of me. All my contact information is right on the website, or you can just email the guild, artsandcraftsmanguild@gmail.com. And, if you put my name in the subject, I'll get the email and I'll get back to you. So thank you. Have a good night.